Get fired up. Speed is dueling in Daytona. Today, the most exciting qualifying event in NASCAR is only on Speed. The Gatorade Duel at Daytona. Be there for the two races that set the field for the Daytona 500. It's the Gatorade Duel at Daytona live today, 2 Eastern.
Hey, I've got a guy standing beside me that is going to be in.
Does he know which one yet?
Yes, I'm in the first one.
We told him that yesterday. He wasn't sure.
I'm in the first one along with Marcus Ambrose and your car.
Yeah,
Terry Labonte and the Window World Toyota will be out there. Look at these guys. They're still bouncing around. Nothing's changed, huh, Phil?
From the time they dropped the green flag for this practice session, they've been bouncing and thrashing and carrying on.
Well, and I think that's interesting. I had the privilege of getting to drive the Aaron's Dream Machine in nationwide practice yesterday, and their rules are so different that there's none of that goes on. We've got a 2,000-pound spring in the right front of our car, and you just ride along, and it floats, and no bouncy, no bumps. But I tell the guys when I come in from practice, I said, I think this thing's trying to fool me. I think it's trying to make me think this is just going to be an easy ride, but I suspect that things are going to heat up when they throw the green flag on Saturday. Now, we've seen things heated up in this Truck Series practice since they threw the green flag yesterday.
Yeah. And we saw it earlier in practice today, and Wayne Auten said, all right, guys, wait a second. We don't need to have anything happen like happened yesterday. Back off of the bumpers.
It appears to me that the trucks and the Cup cars, Sprint Cup cars, drive exactly alike. And then the nationwide cars are sort of out on their own little island. So it's interesting that the dynamics between the setups, that the rules dictate that these guys have to run.
Ray Dunlap, what's going on with TJ Bell?
Well, Rick, I just wanted to add, we talk about practice here at Daytona. We didn't get to come down over the winter. You want to know how good your truck is and how it handles and how the balance is. But there's another thing you need to practice, and that is getting onto pit road. And that's what the crew is reminding TJ Bell to do. Run 4 laps, run 5 laps, tell us how the truck is. And as you get ready to leave the racetrack, we want you to simulate like it's a green flag pit stop. So come down, practice your entry onto pit road. One more thing for many of these young drivers to learn when they come here to Daytona. Adam?
It's probably comforting for TJ Bell to look in his rearview mirror and see Ron Hornaday behind him. A guy is no stranger to success here at Daytona or any track that we go to for that matter. And if you look at Hornaday entering 2009, here's what's interesting in compared to so many other guys he will compete with. This team had virtually no changes in the offseason. A guy who has either won the championship or been within an eyelash the last couple of years, and he had no changes. I think that maybe puts him in the catbird seat entering 2009. And guys, it's a pretty long run he's on right now, getting a good feel for what he'll see here tomorrow night.
Yeah, just now pulling off the racetrack, Adam. He does have quite a good run here. He's run 13 laps total. That's the second most amount of laps that anybody has run this entire practice session. You see Stacy Compton, the 60, the Weiler.com Toyota, on the outside of TJ. That's a new ride for Stacy, jumping on board at the 11th hour.
If Hornaday wasn't intimidating enough because of his aggressive driving style, now he's got that cowl or whatever.
The bull. It's a bull.
A bull on the side of his truck. That's got to make people take a second glance as well.
Ray made a great point earlier about practicing coming down pit road. We were doing the ARCA race here last Saturday right here on Speed. They had a caution flag, mind you, and the guys running first and second both slid through their pits and had to be pushed back. The guys running first and second.
And that pit road it's with the tires that you have to run on the big high bank of Daytona. When you come on pit road flat, they don't stop very well. So you're right, Phil. Not only getting onto pit road, getting from 180 miles an hour down to 50 is important. Also getting from 50 to 0 without making a mistake is something that is very important. So I'm not so sure we're going to see any green flag pit stops on Friday night, tomorrow night.
Yeah.
It appears there's going to be a lot of action.
But if we do have green flag pit stops, the new rules come into play. You can't do tires and fuel at the same time. So we'll see what strategy comes to play with that. One of the many changes that took place in the offseason for the Truck Series, you saw a few different names that were up on the screen earlier. New numbers, new seats. We'll be back with more practice. Welcome back. That's James Busher. Yellow stripe on the back bumper indicating rookie status for that young man, joining Rick Crawford at Circle Bar Racing for the 2009 season. Here are the speeds so far in this final practice. Shane Sieg with the quickest mile per hour. And again, this is definitely indicative of the packs that you run with. Ray Dunlap.
Now, Rick, you know, we get a lot of our information down here in the pit area by listening to the scanners and having the drivers talk to the crew chiefs. I've been listening to the 33 all day today, and all I've heard is Rick Wren and Rick Corelli, the spotter. I haven't heard a word from Hornaday, and that's been the same situation with the team. They could not hear their driver at all. Now, you see Danny Stockman, who is the truck chief. He has been working on installing a new antenna on the top of this, and they're putting all new cabling from that antenna over to the radio. Hopefully, they'll solve their communication problem. But Hornaday was able to speak to Rick Corelli, who's on top of the grandstands, and then Corelli had to relay that information back to Rick Wren. So they want to make sure they get that fixed. During the race, you don't want to have any time issues and not being able to hear or talk to your driver. So they're working on it here in the Longhorn Chevrolet.
There's the spotters. Sometimes they'll have two spotters at this racetrack. We'll have them on the front stretch as well as on the back stretch. Those guys are on the front stretch now.
Yeah, you don't really get an appreciation for what a spotter goes through until you come up here in the speed booth and look down at this massive track and be running beside somebody out on that massive track a couple hours later, and you're coming off two and your spotter says clear. I'm thinking, is he sure?
It's about a mile and a half over there.
Way over there.
I'm not so sure he knows as much as I think I might know in this situation.
Again, we talk about the youth in the truck series. James Busher, just 18 years old. Another young man, Chase Austin's with Adam Alexander.
19 years of age is Chase Austin, driving for another new team, Trail Motorsports. 7th on the board. How's it going so far, Chase?
It's going pretty good. This is my first time driving a truck besides yesterday. I hadn't even sat in one besides mounting the seats until then. But we're running pretty good. For my first time, I don't think we're doing too bad. I got a pretty dominant crew here. They ran here good last year, so I have all the confidence in them. Hopefully we can go back out there and do pretty good.
And the crew he's referring to is the guys from MRD Motorsports. Remember last year they helped Chad McCumbee to a 7th place finish here at Daytona? Well, Trail Motorsports for the first 2 races of the year has leased the team and equipment. Randy Dean will be the crew chief. You see him there. And then when this group breaks out on their own, veteran crew chief in the truck series, Dennis Connor, seen here, will take over the reins and call the shots for Chase Austin.
Dennis Connor has been a part of a lot of wins in the truck series.
3 championships with Jack Sprague at Hendrick Motorsports.
A lot of experience there outside of the truck, but a little bit of inexperience. As Chase mentioned, the first time he'd ever been in a truck behind the wheel and racing it was yesterday. Affordable ticket packages are still available to experience the thrill of NASCAR at Las Vegas during the 2009 season. Experience the unique combination of racing action and entertainment only Las Vegas Motor Speedway can provide. For more information, visit lvms.com or call 1-800-644-4444. And join us at the Speed Stage in 2009 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
What a terrific facility out there that they built a few years ago in Las Vegas. And great crowd and great place to go.
Entertainment capital of the world.
Yeah, Chris Powell and his staff does a terrific job out there for the fans and the competitors.
Pretty good little group, Phil.
Yeah, look at Johnny Sauter's truck. That splitter right down on the racetrack.
And conversely, look at the 07 right behind him.
Yeah, and the 6 on the outside, Colin Brown.
The guy on the outside with his nose up in the air is passing him. Now, that's what I'm saying. There's more than one way to make this thing work.
That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen like that
at all.
But it does. And that's what happens at Daytona.
And there it is, the 6 is in front. So all that talk about, aerodynamic platform definitely takes a back seat to the draft. The draft is key here at Daytona. You have to be able to work the draft in order to win. But in order to work the draft properly, you got to get that truck handling right in order to take advantage of the draft. So anybody can go out there generally for 2 or 3 laps and make moves and make your truck, make you feel good about yourself and good about your truck. But when you run 20, 25 laps on your tires, man, it gets a little bit tougher then.
You get the heat in the tires, you get the air pressure buildup, you're running the fuel out of the back, and all those things contribute maybe to that truck not driving like it did in those first 2 laps.
And again, this is the 3rd practice for the truck series. We didn't have any testing in the off season, so they gave another practice to the truck series because it is the kind of the youth movement for the drivers trying to make their way into the different NASCAR series.
I tell you, that's a different sponsor on that 15 truck of Shane Sieg. Do you see what that sponsor is?
Yeah.
Phoenix Construction Company.
That's Finch's.
That's James Finch's company, Phoenix Construction, out of Panama City, Florida.
And you talked about the youth movement. That's the fastest guy on the track right now, Rick. Shane Sieg. Here comes Hornaday.
Yeah, riding along with Hornaday. He's going to be getting up to speed and jump in behind this pack. And it won't take long for him to get right on the back bumper of one of these trucks.
No, he's there.
Yeah, right now, Ron Hornaday still has the second or third most amount of laps run in this practice session. And this is a guy that knows what he needs to feel. He knows how to run well here at this racetrack, and he's out there trying to get that feel right now.
You know, you wonder if they're not happy with
about 5 back.
They're not happy with the way it's handling, or if maybe they're trying some different cowl, air cleaner, shocks, you know, just tinkering with it to see if they can get more speed out of it, or if indeed he hasn't got that feel that he's looking for.
The other thing Ray Dunlap touched on, the communications earlier weren't working, so they want to make sure that that is all working correctly now.
Take a look.
On your bumper, half back.
Take a look at Ron's Camping World onboard here. He moves to the inside of the 5 of Skinner. Going to pull up behind that 15 of Shane Sieg.
Very tight areas right now, and we're seeing another big pack taking place on the racetrack. Adam.
I'm going to have to get on Richie Waters, Rick, the crew chief for Shane Sieg, because yesterday he was wearing a red hat. It was real easy to identify him. Today, no hat at all. So we need to get that red hat back on so we know exactly where he is. It's not hard to find his driver today. He has looked very good. And really, this is a follow-up from yesterday. As you saw Richie there left of the screen, no red hat. We'll get on him about that. But anyhow, Sieg has looked very good on track. He's felt good about what he has underneath him. And the scoreboard does it lie. He's at the top of the board today after a couple of good practice sessions here yesterday. And guys, sometimes it's tough when you haven't worked with a crew chief, but these two have worked together running late models, and that may help them in the early part of 2009, Ray.
And Adam, let's talk about his teammate, Kyle Busch. We documented the trouble he had yesterday. His truck was dragging the racetrack all over, so they cut the cross members off, changed the trailing arm mounts, all kinds of work being done down here for Doug George and his crew. The last change they just made was to move some lead placement in the left side frame rail for Kyle Busch. So tiny little nuances now. They've got it where it's not dragging the track, but they're trying to get the balance just right where Kyle likes it. And remember, guys, he is traveling more distance on that left front than any other truck that I know of down here in this garage.
And remember, this is a team that finished second in this race last year, so you know they had a pretty good setup, and then they come down here and they're getting more travel and their trucks hitting the racetrack and they have to cut the cross member on.
Well, I'm not going to say they had such a good setup a year ago. I've never seen
he drove it, though.
Yeah, I've never seen anything more difficult to drive than that truck was at the start of the race a year ago.
There's Brian Scott on the left side of your screen. Looks as though he's decided to watch the rest of this one.
He's already been bitten one time this weekend by being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
They get that truck fixed?
They did, and
They've been on the
they liked
racetrack.
it. And that's what his plan was going into this practice, was get out there, make sure everything has been hooked back up correctly. It feels comfortable, because they liked it in those 2 practices.
Now this is good for Ricky Carmichael, huh, Phil? He's got Ron Hornaday right behind him. So anything that Ricky does, Ron is able to critique. And when they get back to the garage area after this practice is over, he might be able to not only let him build on the experience he's getting here, but then continue that lesson when they get out of the trucks and match notes.
And the thing I like about Ricky is he knows he has a steep learning curve, and he's like a sponge down there. I mean, you see him talking to Ron, or talking to all kinds of different drivers, just trying to pick up whatever he can and learn whatever he can. He's got a great spotter on the roof with Andy Houston, who can help him a lot. Rick Corelli, who spots for Hornaday, also is there with some encouragement. So he's got a great group of people behind him.
1 or 2 more, and I'm good with it if you are. Yeah, I'm good.
That's Billy Wilburn right there, his crew chief, telling him maybe a couple more laps, and that'll be enough for him.
Ricky Carmichael out in front of this pack. Right behind him, it's Ron Hornaday. Those 2 teammates working together on the racetrack.
Yeah, it looks like Ricky's going to say that's enough. He's going to come in. It looks like Hornaday may come in with him.
Mike Skinner looks like he's going to come down on pit road as well.
Wave him off.
The 51, Kyle Busch, just got warned on the radio. Calm down. This is just a practice.
Check this out. A lap ago, coming to the start-finish line, he drove all the way under the yellow line and was off the racetrack. So NASCAR said, we need to see you calm down a little bit. And if that were the case in the race, he would be black flagged.
Right.
Because he was definitely under the yellow line making ground.
Yeah.
You can go under the yellow line. Just don't make
improve your position.
Yeah, don't make any ground. Calm down, Kyle. That's what they said.
Drive's good.
That's
a good.
That's definitely good.
Yeah.
Feedback.
He's happy about his truck. Shane Sieg, his teammate, seems to be happy with his truck. What I'm liking right now, Phil, Ricky Carmichael. He's made it through this whole practice. He's been in some tight spots. He looks like he's learned a lot and is really in a position to go out tomorrow night.
Can you get him in another pack there, Spotter? There is no other pack. No other pack.
Yeah, right now it doesn't do. If you're in race trim right now, it looks like it appears as though Larry Foyt is. And there's no other trucks on the racetrack, then it really doesn't do you any good to be out there, because he's going to run around here at 51.50 or something like that. He knows he can get in the pack and run around here at 48.90 or 49.10. So it really is not doing any good. He may ride out here for a couple laps till maybe some people come out here, but otherwise there's really no sense doing it.
Adam Alexander, things picking up in the garage?
Well, I don't know. I would say they're picking up, but one team that has had a long day already is this 16 bunch. And the reason I say that is they came in at 7 a.m. The garage actually wasn't scheduled to open until 9. And the reason for that being, of course, yesterday's incident on track. Now, they've got all the damage repaired. Brian Scott has been out on track, and Jeff Hensley, the crew chief, who you see here, told me they felt very, very good about what they had. It's back where it was yesterday. They're just making a few changes. Their plan is to go back out in the draft and make sure what they've got for tomorrow night. Not planning a qualifying run, but what ended on a very sour note yesterday is back on the up and up for this 16 bunch here today.
That's good news. 16 back to the way it was prior to getting run into the wall by Ricky Carmichael yesterday.
I'm impressed those guys got that thing lined back out, Phil.
Looked like he hit pretty hard, had a lot of damage, it appeared.
Larry Foyt, the lonely man on the racetrack right now. We'll be right back with more practice. Welcome back. NASCAR Camping World Truck Series final practice from Daytona International Speedway. Gorgeous day. We're at high noon here in Daytona Beach, Florida. Everything else taking place on speed, you will not want to change the channel. 1 o'clock Speed Day, a special edition, the race day, and the Gatorade Duel at 2 o'clock. 5:30 NASCAR Victory Lane. Maybe we can talk to Michael Waltrip in Victory Lane. One of the dual races today, and then qualifying for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series will begin at 7. Everything right here on speed. Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, Michael Waltrip with you from the booth. Adam Alexander, Ray Dunlap covering all of the stories in the garage area. So right now we're seeing a few more trucks making their way back out onto the racetrack. There was a lull. Only Larry Foyt was on the track when we went away. Now we've got a few more making their way out there for some final adjustments. A little over an hour before this practice will get over, and then they'll get them set up.
This is wide open right here. Wave them off, wave them off.
Looks like that's Todd Bodine, and that's a bad sound right there. He said his motor is wide open. He said there must be something wrong with it, because those trucks really come up to
All
speed.
the gauges look fine, but
doesn't sound weird, but it's not going.
switch boxes, see if it's anything there, bud.
Looking in on Todd Bodine.
Wave them off, wave them off.
Saw Rick Crawford behind him. He was waiting for Todd to go so they could get in a good draft, and he kept following him even though Todd really wasn't coming up to speed.
See Todd
I'm literally wide open right now.
checking out the gauges.
The throttle must not be opening all the way, because the thing sounds crisp. You know, it sounds like it's running normal, just not getting up to speed.
Yeah, Todd's going to bring it on down pit road there. He's going to pull off the racetrack. I didn't see Todd switch boxes. We have two ignition.
The throttle stop as soon as it comes in, guys. It might be the throttle stop.
I bet it sounded to me like it might be the throttle stop. The thing's just not going all the way wide open.
It certainly wasn't missing.
No.
You know, which if you would think it was bad ignition, it would have a miss.
When he says throttle stop, is that the pedal or is that on the carburetor?
There's one on each.
Okay.
On the floorboard of the truck, there's a stop, and then on the carburetor as well. So,
And how could that adjust? I mean,
I'll clear that off. I'll clear.
Can that adjust itself? I mean, can it come loose?
now if they had the air cleaner off, though.
Is it running or we gotta go push it? It's running. All the gauges are fine.
It really sounds like something, you know.
Plenty of fuel pressure, right, bud?
Truthfully, it could have come loose.
Trash in it or something.
I mean, basically that throttle stop on the floor is a big flat washer, you know, welded on the end of a bolt, and then you have a jam nut on the inside and a nut on the outside. Okay. So that could have come loose and, you know, and started backing back out.
Something as simple as
yeah, we got fuel pressure.
Something as simple as maybe one of the mats in the floorboard could have got up between the throttle stop and the throttle itself.
Ray Dunlap, what do you think's going on?
Well, Mike Hillman Jr. told him try changing ignition boxes. Todd said that's definitely not it. I've got full power in the engine. He said I can tell that the gauges are all fine. I don't think it's an engine problem. We're just not able to get full throttle. So he was wide open and the truck not going. So I think you guys have hit it on the head. They'll take a look at it, but it's probably a linkage at the carburetor.
Yeah, Ray's right. It could be a linkage problem on the carburetor itself. So they'll come in, take the air cleaner off, and checked out all that out, and they'll say, okay, Todd, hold this thing wide open, and they'll look down to make sure that throttle is going wide open. They look down in the carburetor, in the venturis, to make sure the butterflies are sticking perpendicular.
Somebody that doesn't know anything about racing, that sentence that you just threw out there, they'd be like, what is he talking about? Butterflies?
Yeah.
But if you're a speed fan, man.
That's right. These people
tuned
know.
in here.
These people know what we're talking about.
Now, the biggest thing about what's going on right now and why this is such a big deal, Todd Bodine is going for 4 in a row on the super speedways. I mean, he's won 2 at Talladega, 1 here. He's looking to make it 4 in a row on the super speedways. So he is definitely the odds-on favorite. And now we've got an issue with his truck.
And that's the same truck that he won all 3 of those races with.
Adam Alexander.
All right, so if you guys look at your driver lineup, gunbroker.com Racing has 3 trucks here: the 21, the 22, the 23. The 21 for Dennis Setzer, the 22 for Wayne Edwards, the 23 for Jason White. And there you see the 23 on track. So it's Jason White, right? Wrong. Dennis Setzer, the veteran, in that truck right now. There have been no changes in the driver lineup. It was just that Jason White didn't get the handle he liked, wanted a second opinion, and when you have a veteran in the stable, you might as well send him out there. So that's what they have done. We're awaiting feedback from Dennis while his 21 truck continues to sit idle in the garage. We'll keep you posted on what's happening here.
Just evaluating his equipment a little bit, making sure that Jason hasn't missed out on a detail that maybe Dennis can cling on to that'll help that truck drive better so he can get with them tomorrow night. It's all about tomorrow night getting the thing to handle in the turn so that you can keep it wide open and stay in that
advantage too, Michael, to have somebody like Dennis Setzer on board your team to be able to jump in that truck and make sure that Jason's feeling what he's feeling.
Looks like maybe Dennis said, I don't like the way it feels either, Jason. He slowed down and got off the back of those guys.
Yeah. I think you were right, Jason.
You're right. Something is wrong with it, and I don't know what it is either. But Dennis will help them figure it out. They'll put their heads together and come up with a solution. And that's just very valuable to have a guy like Dennis Setzer on your team that can help you out in a case like that.
So again, Dennis Setzer is going to be driving the 21 truck, but he's helping out his teammate Jason White right now in the 23. Adam Alexander, what else is going on with that 23?
Well, the report from Jason White, it was loose, and Dennis Setzer just came on the radio and said it is loose, but it will suck up, I swear. So I think Dennis likes what he feels in that 23 a little bit. Maybe when Dennis comes in, and you can see he's off the banking, he'll be back in the garage area in a moment. We can hear from him or Jason and further our story.
Well, that's great that it'll suck up, and everyone's looking for that, but they better get that thing snugged up a little bit too.
Yeah, sucking up without being snugged up is a bad combination.
And we science that out.
I was going to say, I think you need a degree in science to figure out what was just said. We'll be back with more practice from Daytona. Coverage of NASCAR Camping World Truck Series final practice from Daytona is brought to you by Toyota. For the latest Toyota racing information, visit toyotaracing.com. Toyota, moving forward. By Verizon Wireless. Call more people, use 0 minutes. Only on America's largest mobile-to-mobile calling family, Verizon Wireless. And by Old Spice, the official deodorant of NASCAR. The packs are, well, increasing in size here at Daytona.
And look who's out in the front of it now. Hornaday again.
Johnny Benson's trying to get that truck up there. Look at how close Kyle Busch is to Ron Hornaday here.
Sometimes that air just sucks those trucks together. It wasn't, I don't think, a situation where Kyle would have tried to drive over there that close to Ron Hornaday.
I think it bounced over there, Phil. It looked like he was a little bit on that. And you know, the air off of an inside truck will pull you down toward him. The arrow from that truck that say as these guys go by, that truck, the 25, it wants to pull over toward Kyle if he gets close enough to him. So Kyle was on the outside, hit a bump, the air pulled him over, and that could have been big.
Well, Wayne Auton again has had to get on the radio and say, calm down, guys.
We just heard Kyle a minute ago say my truck's driving great.
Looked like he got a little bit loose right then, coming off too.
Somebody that didn't know any better and watched that lap would say it isn't.
He's behind the wheel, so you've got to say that whatever the driver says is comfortable, you go with. Dennis Setzer, Jason White discussing that 23 and the handling of it.
Go into the corner there.
That sounded like Kyle right there.
Got to run on the outside of the 25 truck.
Johnny Benson, that one K&N Toyota, leading that pack.
There's Hornaday right behind Johnny Sauter. So this is an experienced group of guys here, Phil.
It really is. Remember that Adam played all afternoon in that fun sand that's right. Sponsor on Johnny Sauter's truck.
It won't get you dirty.
Cade and Kyla have it probably at their house by now.
He had a bucket of it, I saw when he was leaving last night.
Oh, a little bit sideways again there.
I tell you, Kyle, you know, he may be happy with that truck, but
we'll have to see.
It doesn't look quite as good as what I think he would like it to look or feel. But it still doesn't look as bad as it did for the first half of the race last year.
No, I don't think any truck ever will again. I think that was a record. And it's in front of the pack. So that might make him feel good enough about it to say, okay, I want to leave it alone.
Brian Scott back out there. You can see the 16 truck making his way by Ron Hornaday. We saw him up on top of the hauler earlier. Looked like he was going to call it a day, but back out on the track.
He's run a lot of laps.
Johnny Benson behind him, our series champion, Taylor Malsom. Randy Moss Motorsports in that number 81. He'll be teammates to Mike Skinner.
In fact, no one's run any more laps than Hornaday, Phil.
Yeah.
He's run the most of anyone this whole session.
Along with TJ Bell.
He and TJ Bell. 25 laps.
I understand that Randy Moss is going to be here Friday.
Awesome.
What I've been told. Yeah.
I think we should play catch. Little ball, throw a little ball, catch.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Maybe not.
Well, I don't know. He might want to.
I think he's going to be on trackside, actually.
I think he does that with his day job, I think. Play some catch.
Yeah. Adam.
Rick, I've seen you throw the football.
Seriously.
Randy Moss doesn't want to go anywhere near you, my friend.
Seriously, yeah, he's afraid probably. I bet I throw harder than John Elway.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are things you have in common with Tom Brady and Matt Castle. Throwing a football would not be one of them.
I showed my age there. I talked about John Elway.
Yeah.
Throwing like you. Riding along with Todd Bodine, that's a good sound. Sounds like he might be up to speed, so they have probably got that situation straightened out. Speed's presentation of NASCAR Camping World Truck Series final practice from Daytona is brought to you by Toyota. For the latest Toyota racing information, visit toyotaracing.com. Toyota, moving forward. And by Old Spice, the official deodorant of NASCAR. Breezy day in Daytona Beach, Florida. Probably a little breezier for those guys up there spotting, Phil.
Yeah, not a whole bunch of activity on the racetrack right now. When these trucks are making single truck runs, it's not that critical for the spotters. But when we see these trucks in packs of 25 or 30, then those spotters really earn their keep. And when we're talking about spotters, I just wanted to take a moment to say that one of the fellows that used to help me when I had my own Busch team, now Nationwide Series, Mikey Timmerman, passed away this morning. And I just want to send out my thoughts and prayers to Gail and all of Mikey's friends. He was one character, and what a great guy, and enjoyed spending so much time with him, and we're really going to miss him. And just say, Gail, we're sure sorry.
The unsung heroes up there, especially at racetracks like Daytona and Talladega, they're your eyes. I mean, you're focused on, like we talked about yesterday, that vehicle in front of you. and they're watching the different lines that are moving, who's in those lines, who's back behind you.
You got to believe too. You know, that's the important part of a relationship with a spotter. You got to believe what he tells you is correct. And the only way that you get to where you have that trust and that confidence in him is through time and call after call. They don't mess up. They don't mess up. They're right. They're right. They're right. And man, it's a long way from the spotter stand to turn 2 at Daytona. So that's when the trust really comes into play.
Little steam shooting out the side of that 17 of Timothy Peters. Ray Dunlap.
You know, Rick, Phil was talking about personal loss, and we can certainly relate that story down here to Ron Hornaday. His father, Ron Hornaday Sr., passed away in December, and Ron has been talking so much this week about all of the importance of winning at Daytona and how big it would be if he were able to dedicate this win to his dad. And Ron Hornaday has been on the track for more laps than anybody out there today. They have been really working this thing. You see Rick Wren talking it over with Ron right now. They have just put sticker tires on this Longhorn Chevrolet, and they've got it cooled down, so they're about to go out and do a mock qualifying run to see what they've really got. Hornaday originally yesterday was saying that he felt like the truck was dragging on the racetrack. They've fixed all those things. They've worked today on the balance, and now they're going to see how fast it might be tonight when we go qualifying for tomorrow night's race.
It's a good looking truck right there.
It sure is. Sure is. Again, Ron Hornaday Sr. passing just right before Christmas. It was a tough loss for Ron. And obviously our thoughts and prayers with their family, and as they continue to work toward that win here at Daytona. What a big accomplishment that's got to be. Michael, obviously you know all too well how big it is to win at this racetrack.
Oh, it's the best. It's defined your career, in my case certainly, and I know for a guy like Rick Crawford, who raced short tracks all over the Southeast forever, to come to Daytona and win. Todd Bodine, his family has a rich tradition here, so any victory is big, but Daytona is the biggest for sure.
Again, final practice for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series will continue when we come back. Everyone getting ready for qualifying later on this evening. Again, welcome back. When the trucks are on the track, you can see it right here on Speed. Tonight, qualifying at 7 o'clock. Getting everyone ready for the lineup that will take place on Friday the 13th. No one's going to be scared when the setup starts at 7:30. And the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series kicks off at 8 o'clock right here on Speed.
Yeah, what a great race this has historically been here, and you know, it's important to start at the front, not critical, because Bobby Hamilton Sr. won this race starting dead last, the farthest back anyone had ever started to win a race in the entire history of the Truck Series.
And the chances are he was running last with about 10 to go.
Exactly.
I mean, he started back there and he stayed back there a lot. And then they said, they're going to throw the checker here in a minute, Bob. Go get it. And he did.
Well, we've got a lot of veteran drivers, and we've got some rookies that are going to be in the field, and Ray Dunlap's caught up with one of those.
Well, and that's Ricky Carmichael. Of course, he had an interesting day yesterday on the track. Ricky, you and I were talking about motocross, and you said back in the day you used to hate the first race of the season because everybody was losing their mind. You got the same feeling here?
Yeah, you can tell everybody's jitterbuggy and ready to get out there and race, but kind of wild. Had a wild day yesterday, but the guys worked hard and didn't tear anything up really. They fixed the little stuff that happened, and we are awesome today. I had a good time and learned a lot just today, and looking forward to the race.
What did you do to prepare for the action that you're about to see tomorrow night?
We just tried to get it working the best that we could. We got the front working good and the rear. It was really good in the draft, so a lot better than yesterday. I'm really comfortable.
All right, good luck to you. And guys, he told me he spent a couple of weeks watching previous races from right here at Daytona, and he said, man, if it's anything like what I've been watching, I can't wait to get it going.
The GOAT, greatest of all time, is what his peers in moto racing were calling him.
Isn't it great I mean, that man is the greatest supercross racer of all time, walking around in that garage area as a rookie trying to suck up any bit of knowledge. But to have that title and to have your peers feel that way about you, that just shows passion, heart, desire, determination. And all those are traits, personality traits that are a must if you're going to be successful in NASCAR.
And he comes in this garage and he's very humble. He's like, you know, we talked earlier, he talks to Hornaday, he talks to everybody out there trying to learn about these things, because he obviously, you know, has to accelerate his learning curve, because here he is in his late 20s,
right.
and just starting out in an entirely different discipline from what he's been used to his whole life.
You think James Stewart is saying, man, I really hope he succeeds over there in the Truck Series?
James,
he doesn't need to come back. He doesn't need to come back because he wins all the races.
James might see Ricky do some good over here in NASCAR and join us for a little bit of racing himself.
Absolutely.
This is another qualifying run. He picked up a straggler there. He was trying to make a qualifying run, but Chase Austin was only able to run 51.71, Phil. And we saw some trucks earlier run down right around the 51.10-20 mark. So he'll be a little bit off when it comes time to qualify this evening.
Yeah, remember, Chase Austin is one of the go homers now, so he will have to qualify his way in this field. We have 39 trucks
shooting for 36
spots. So we will not know till the very last truck runs tonight who will be in this race tomorrow night.
And we've pretty much said if you're in the race, you could win it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So not making the race. This is a truck will be really interesting to see what he runs for a time. This will tell us. It should be right around the 51.10 or 20, don't you think, Phil?
I would think so. Absolutely. He basically was simulating taking the green flag right there. So I think if Wayne Naughton and his folks let you line up tomorrow night for the starting lineup, then you got a shot to win this thing. If they let you on pit road tomorrow night, you got a shot at it.
But clawing your way past Hornaday, Bodine, Skinner, I mean,
Star.
It's amazing what it takes to be successful here at Daytona. These guys are gonna put every bit of who they are into tomorrow night.
So as we watch Ron Hornaday complete his qualifying run, let's go back down to the garage and Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. You know, one of the things that I've talked about over and over on these shows is the balance between the veterans in this field and the rookies. And one of my favorite parts about being part of the Camping World Truck Series is the young drivers who are coming to Daytona for their first time. And this year, we've got an incredible Ray Bestis Rookie of the Year award chase group. We've got right here Taylor Malsom behind me, J.R. Fitzpatrick. You're going to see Chase Austin, an unbelievable list, and Ricky Carmichael. You add those four guys together, their enthusiasm is unbelievable, and their learning curve is pretty sharp. I can't wait to see them get their first race under their belt tomorrow night right here at the Big D. Adam?
And they will all find out very quickly, Ray. When you race at Daytona, it is very unpredictable. And one thing we can also talk about is the fact that it doesn't matter where you start tomorrow night. You know you will have a chance to win this race. But the next step for all these drivers is qualifying. And history says qualifying in the top 10 really helps, because 7 of the 9 truck races here at Daytona has produced a winner who started in the top 10. We'll see if that trend continues tomorrow night when we're back on the air this evening with qualifying.
Yes, we are. That's fun, too. You get to check out different trucks, how they ride through the bumps. We're going to be able to see who's going to have the breakneck speed, who's just going to barely claw their way into the show, and then knowing that all of it after qualifying's over, people are going to say, shoot, we can win this race. I don't care where we're starting.
That's right. Ron Hornaday, we were watching him make a simulated qualifying run, 51.17. Again, only about 0.2 of a second off the pole last year.
Kyle Busch just ran 51.39, so that's about the zone we're going to be looking at.
Again, Race Day Special Edition coming up next right here on Speed. Stick with us.